Good evening, everyone. We're ready to begin. The Planning Commission is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and is posted in compliance with the open meeting law. We're live on KCLV Channel 2, and this meeting will be rebroadcast Saturday at 10 a.m., the following Monday at midnight, Tuesday at 5 a.m., and Thursday at 6 p.m. Would everyone please stand and join me with the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Trowbridge.
Present.
Vice Chair Truesdale. Present. Commissioner Buckley.
Present.
Commissioner Quinn.
Here.
Commissioner Evans.
Present.
Commissioner Goins.
Present.
Commissioner Ellsworth.
Here.
Okay.
We have a quorum. I call your attention to the information printed in your agenda concerning our actions and the appeal and review process, if appropriate. Please read this carefully, and if you have any questions, staff is available. Also, the second page of the agenda contains our rules of conduct. We appreciate your adhering to these rules so we can have a smooth hearing. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 14th, 2009?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for approval of the May 14th Planning Commission meetings.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. Let's move on to the housekeeping items. Are there any items that the commissioners, staff, applicants, or members of the public would like to pull forward for action?
Mr. Chairman, we have a few items. Items number 10, 12, and 14, variance 33768, variance 33771, and SDR 33767. Staff requests these items be stricken as they're being replaced with subsequent items. Items 16 and 17, variance 34013, SDR 34011. The applicant is requesting those items to be withdrawn without prejudice. Items number 18, 19, and 20, which are ZON 34005, variance 34009, SDR 34007. The applicant is requesting those items to be withdrawn without prejudice. And items 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30, which are VAR 34308, waiver 34311, SUP 34309, SUP 34310, and SDR 34306. Applicant is requesting to hold those items in abeyance till the July 9th Planning Commission meeting in order to renotice the variance for the sign. Item number 31 is RQR 34160. The applicant is requesting to hold that item in abeyance. And bear with me. Is that the one that we're changing? No. Then in order to allow it to catch up with a request for a review of condition on that application. Item number 32 is RQR 34321. The applicant is requesting this item be held in abeyance to the 625 Planning Commission meeting as they're unable to attend. Staff notes that we are changing our recommendation on that item from denial to approval as they have received their final inspections, and that billboard could possibly proceed forward if you decide to go forward on that item if the applicant isn't present for a review. And then item number 39 is SDR 34340, and the applicant is requesting that item be withdrawn without prejudice.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on any of these items? Okay. If no,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion those items be brought forward and follow staff's recommendations.
thank you. Motion
Except if item 32 we can take separately.
If that's the desire of the Commission, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries. You want to talk about item 32 now, or do it? Okay, in order. Very good. Okay, there are no consent items, so we go to one motion, one vote. These items that may be considered in one motion, one vote. They are considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items. All public hearings and non-public hearings will be opened at one time. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or member of the Planning Commission not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item pulled from this part of the agenda. We have items 6, 7, and 8 on the one motion, one vote. I'll read the titles. RQR 34324. The applicant is CBS Outdoor, Inc. Owner is City Parkway 4A, Inc. Required review of a previously approved variance which allowed a 14-foot by 48-foot off-premise illuminated sign 690 feet from another existing off-premise sign where 750 feet is the minimum separation allowed. It's on the north side of US 95 between Bonanza Road and Grand Central Parkway, 150 feet west of the center line of the Union Pacific Railroad tracks. Item number 7 is a vacation 32209. The applicant owner is Cox Communications Las Vegas, Inc. Is to vacate a portion of an existing 20-foot wide drainage easement generally located on the west side of Stella Lake Street, 15 feet north of Wheeler Peak Drive. Item number 8 is a vacation 34307. The applicant owner is 2575 Highland Drive, LP, is to vacate a 2,131 square foot portion of Highland Drive located approximately 275 feet northeast of Sutter Avenue. These items are now open for public staff report on any of them. We have someone wishing to speak.
I would like to speak on item number 6.
Please, go right ahead. Give your name and
Wesley
sign in.
Esbut.
Yes, I know Wesley.
107 East Charleston Boulevard. We are the adjacent property owner to this 5.8 acres here, which is owned by a subsidiary or an affiliate of the city. Over the past 4 years or so, we have endured a fair amount of dumping, large homeless encampments on several occasions, a very large tire fire, which cost the city a pretty penny to clean up, and ongoing and ongoing. There are Jersey walls that have been stored there. There is vandalism to our building. This location for a billboard is extremely lucrative because it's right there at the Spaghetti Bowl, which is why they're asking for the shorter distance. It's an important location for that. What I'm requesting is a condition be placed that this property be treated as any other property in the city, and that it be brought up to a certain security standard. We're adding infrastructure here. We're adding reasons for people to go back there again. This has been a notorious problem area. There is no fencing. There is a feeder track that runs off of the main spur that bisects this piece. There is no fencing for any of that. There is an open path to Bonanza, which is a half a block away from the Mission up there. The tire fire that happened about a year and a half ago is the best example that I can give. It was very large, and I think you're familiar with that event. I would suggest, the basic, fencing or the standards that everyone else is being held to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on any of these one motion, one vote items? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and ask staff to respond to the request for an additional condition. Is somebody down there?
Mr. Chairman, I suppose I can respond.
Please.
While I can understand what the applicant is asking of this commission, I think the proper forum for his issues would be our Code Enforcement Division. And we can certainly rectify or address his issues there. I'm not sure it's appropriate this time on this required review to be placing conditions, new conditions on this site.
Thank you. Okay, hearing that, I think we're ready for a motion regarding 6, 7, and 8.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to follow staff's recommendations for approval.
Motion has been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
All matters go forward to council July 15th.
We now move to the public hearing items, item number 9 and companion items 11, 13, and 15. Item number 9 is zoning request 33765. The applicant owner is Bashar Hasfali from RE Residential Estates to C1 Limited Commercial on the east side of Martin Luther King Boulevard, approximately 500 feet north of Washington Avenue. Item 11 is variance 34538 to allow a 15-foot front yard setback where 20 feet is required, a 73-foot setback where residential adjacency requires 84 feet, and to allow a trash enclosure to be located 10 feet from a residentially zoned property where residential adjacency requires 50 feet. Item 13 is variance 34529 to allow 34 parking spaces where 42 parking spaces are required. And item number 15 is site development review 34540 for a proposed two-story, 7,180 square feet commercial building with waivers of the perimeter landscaping buffer standards to allow buffers of 5 feet where 8 feet is required along the north and south perimeters and 7 feet where 8 feet is required along the east perimeter. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to rezone an undeveloped residentially zoned lot for commercial use and to construct a new commercial development on the site. The proposed development does not meet the minimum development standards for front yard setback or residential adjacency standards for proximity, slope, and separation distance for a trash enclosure. The development is also deficient in required parking. In addition to the associated variances, the applicant is requesting as part of the site development plan review a waiver and exception to reduce the site landscaping below the minimum required standards. Staff is recommending approval of the request for rezoning as the proposed zoning district is compatible with the surrounding zoning districts and is appropriate for the area. Staff is recommending denial of the requested variances and site development plan review as the applicant has not provided any evidence of unique or extraordinary circumstances and has created a self-imposed hardship by proposing to overbuild the site. A denial of these requests would result in the need for a new site development plan review prior to the use of the site for commercial purposes, or in the event that the associated rezoning request is also denied, the continued use of the site for single-family residences. Please note that 2 reports with conditions are included in the backup for both item number 11, VAR 34538, and item number 15, SDR 34540. The first report should be disregarded as the second report is the correct one. Copies of the correct reports have also been included in your yellow sheet updates. Additional letters of protest have been received for this item.
I'd like to declare the public hearing open now, and anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record and sign in if you would. Thank you.
Don Rodriguez, Empire Land and Development, 1115 Mariposa, Boulder City, Nevada. Well, we're back. If you recall, a few months ago, we came with this item, just to refresh everyone's memory. This was the previous site plan that we put on hold after hearing some opposition from the residents of Bonanza Village. We had then decided to hold the application until the May 15th meeting, if I recall. And as we began speaking with the residents of Bonanza Village, those who were in protest at the time, we started to redesign the site. And we worked with the city planning and zoning staff to redesign the site to make it more appropriate, to bring the architecture to a more modern level, to a level that was expressed by the residents of Bonanza Village. In doing so, it changed the site plan so much so that new notification was required and new applications filed. We did that, and then the notification process went through, and here we are tonight. What we've designed now is a 2-story structure where the structure has been relocated more adjacent to Martin Luther King Boulevard, as you see here. And in this 2-story structure, as part of the site development review and the variances, we've asked for a 15-foot landscape buffer along Martin Luther King Boulevard. That is in direct relation to getting the parking that we need as much as possible. 18 feet here, 24 feet drive aisle, another 18 feet, and a 5-foot sidewalk in front of the building. To give you an idea of what the new building looks like, I brought our elevations. You can see there. Thank you. This is the east elevation, which would be facing east, obviously, toward the adjacent residential property. And this is the south elevation. The north and west elevations look very, very similar. And I brought those too as well. But with regard to proximity, as staff reported, we're required to have an 84-foot setback. We don't deny that, but as you can see on this proximity slope, the existing residential property to our east is approximately 3 feet 8 inches lower in elevation. We're 73 feet set back on the first floor. The second floor is set back further. The only intrusion into this proximity, it's kind of hard to see on the display, is right in this area, which is specifically the parapet wall that is designed to mask equipment, rooftop equipment, and that intrudes into the proximity, the 3-to-1 slope proximity by 2 feet, which is less than the 3 foot 8 inch grade difference. And per the Las Vegas Development Code, that's allowed. And staff can clarify that if you wish to ask staff of that. Now, that being said, we've since met with the property owner to the east, and I believe he's here. Not sure if he supports it now or is in opposition, but we've taken another look, and I don't believe that this would require more notification. We've taken another look at this and have pushed the second floor. I didn't have time to bring a full-size copy, but we've pushed the second floor further to the west, and in making it possible to get 73 feet of setback from residential property to the first floor and the full 84 feet to the second floor, to where no part of this building encroaches in the proximity slope 3-to-1, which is required at residential adjacency. So, we've worked with the community. We did get the support of Bonanza Village in our meeting with them. We showed them the new design. They were excited about it. I believe that vote at their HOA meeting was 7-4, 2 against, and 1 abstained. I'm not sure why the abstention, but that was the vote. So we did get the approval from the HOA. And, we continue to work with the adjacent property owner. With that being said, I'd like to turn it back over to the commission.
Do you have a letter from the HOA?
We do not have a letter, but Councilman Barlow's chief of staff, Stephen Brooks, was in attendance at that meeting and took record of the vote. I can obtain that officially for you if needed. That's not a problem. Thank you.
Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please come up to the microphone and give your name and sign in, please.
Yes, my name is Frederick Jackson, and I'm the property owner at 1025 Ian Street. I'm right to the east of the property in Corson. Okay, first of all, I'm not in favor of the two-story building. Right now, the economy is down, our property values are down. I have a residential of about 4.41 of an acre. I have a house sitting on there, 1,600 square foot. I'm the only house on that block. Everybody around me is commercial, and it's obstructing my view. I think it's an undesirable location. And with the parking, 42 is required. He wants 34. You got a 7,000 square foot building. How many employees are going to be there? They're going to be probably more than 34 employees there. So where are the people going to park? They're going to park where they're parking at right now, right in front of my house on N Street. So basically, I'll oppose that two-story building.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in attendance? Go ahead,
And
sir.
one more thing, Bonanza Village. I went at the meeting, but I talked to a couple of homeowners that was at the meeting, and they supported the building, but they said they would support me, the homeowner, before they support that building. So they was in favor of what I have to say today. If you need a letter, I can get a letter from them.
Thank you. That
Thank you.
leaves us with direction in both ways, huh?
Yes, sir. We met with Mr. Jackson, and we fully respect his
Let
opinion.
me play bureaucrat here for a second. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? No. Seeing so, I'll declare the public hearing closed and give you the opportunity to respond to the comments.
Thank you. We met with Mr. Jackson, and we fully respect his opinion. It's clear that there's a parking problem on N Street that's affecting Mr. Jackson. I think this is a result of the development of the Bank of America, which is to the south of us, and as a result of the severely underparked shopping strip that is directly to the south of us. In our opinion, we would not have people patronizing this establishment, this facility, and parking on N Street and walking. The reason being, they'd have to cut through Mr. Jackson's yard, scale the wall, which is approximately a 10-foot wall by Mr. Jackson's measurement, and come to our facility, or walk all the way across the Bank of America and walk back. It's a far walk. Secondly, we understand that we are underparked. We initially intended to come in at the 10% reduction, which is somewhat typical to be allowed. We did reach that. However, when meeting with Councilman Barlow, he asked us to put in this drive aisle, which would connect the parking lot to the south of us with our parking lot. This was a direct request of Councilman Barlow, and we accommodated that request and did so, and in doing so, ate some more parking spaces, approximately 3.5 spaces in doing so. And so we're, on paper, we're severely underparked, or we're underparked. It's our opinion that people would park in our facility and patronize the establishment to the south of us. They've got 7,000 square feet on a single story and approximately 30 spaces. So there are approximately 26 spaces, as a matter of fact. And they're severely underparked. We don't disagree with that. And again, we respect the opinion of Mr. Jackson and understand that there is a parking problem. We do not feel that we would add to that parking problem that's created to the north and to the south of us. Secondly, I just wanted to clarify one thing that I didn't clarify before. In the record, the trash enclosure was previously located here in this corner, 10 feet off of the residential property line. We have located it, as we told Mr. Jackson that we would at his request, relocated it to this corner. 50 feet separation is required. We now have 52.92 feet of separation between the trash enclosure and the property line.
Mr. Chairman, staff has not seen that plan, nor have we had a chance to review that.
Understood. It was made at direct request of Mr. Jackson earlier this week. I'm sorry, and I will get it to staff.
Okay, thank you very much. The public hearing is closed now. I'd like to turn the matter over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion. I would like to ask the first obvious question is what business are going to be located in this new two-story structure?
We're targeting a small retail and office upstairs.
Thank you. Any liquor, any special use?
No, sir. Absolutely not. There's no intention to locate liquor. As a matter of fact, the owner is a carpet salesman from California, and he intends to locate a carpet shop on the first floor and sell. We feel our development's going to look very similar to the development that's just to the north of us, also on Martin Luther King. This one here. Also a two-story structure. It has an approximate height of 35 feet. Our height is 28 feet.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that building you're showing there is parked appropriately, right?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure the square footage of that building.
You indicated that the building south of you is underparked and the building north of you is underparked, and that people might utilize your underparked site to support those sites. Well, where your customers or where your tenants and customers going to park?
Obviously, we're not excited about that, but at the request of Councilman Barlow, we added that drive aisle to connect the two parking lots. Would it be our preference to have 38 spaces on our property? Yes.
Is the cross access good? But it still means the property's overbuilt. You represent that you're talking about putting the trash enclosure now up in the northwest corner. How's a trash truck going to get there? I mean, it's going to try and make a 3-point turn, pull the thing out, back out onto the street because there's not enough room for a trash truck to turn around in there. I just think you're trying to make something out of this that it isn't. And I still am not sure how most of the people pulling in there to park, they're going into a dead-end parking, a very long dead-end parking. And it's just, I'm not sure I could support what you're presenting to us.
Chairman, question
Please.
for the gentleman.
Yes, sir.
You say one of your prospective tenants is a carpet business or a rug business?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rugs.
Rugs as in rugs that are already
Rugs that-
fabricated, or carpets as in wall-to-wall carpet?
Rugs that are already fabricated, approximately 10 by 20 foot rugs, household rugs.
So there wouldn't be carpet cutting necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And then the trash enclosure, how close would that be to this gentleman's home?
To the home, I believe he has a 15 or 20 foot setback to his home.
Well, from the property.
From the property line to the face of his house, and the rear setback, I believe, is 15 to 20 feet. Let's say 15 to be conservative. That would make it approximately 67 feet from the 67, almost 68 feet from the trash enclosure to his house, face of house.
Is this the only retail in the center?
I'm sorry?
Is this the only retail that you anticipate in the center?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Please, more questions?
Yes, sir.
One of my concerns is you've got the parking in the back now, and what's that going to do for Mr. Jackson's goings on with things that come over the fence, or because I don't know what type of uses other than a rug shop. How many pads do you have in this building?
We have 3.
One's a carpet shop. The next one's going to be.
Well, it can be, to be honest with you, it can be used as one facility. We've designed it. This is the first floor that has a breezeway that goes through, and this is the second floor that sits on top of the first. So it can be used as 3 spaces, or it can be used as 1 space.
Are you planning on having any lights in the parking lot back there?
Whatever is required by the city, yes.
I just think this site's overbuilt, and I don't know if adding a second story and then saying you push the second story closer to the west towards Martin Luther King is going to solve the problem. I think now you've put a structure in the back of Mr. Jackson's yard where even though you showed the 3-to-1 slope and him sitting a little bit lower, it almost looks like a high-rise is now towering over his backyard. Do you have any windows on the east side of that? Are they real windows? Are they fake windows? Privacy issues, looking in backyards, and all those things now come into play with a second story that's abutting the neighborhood.
The exterior has a window exterior all the way across. And what we did, and Mr. Jackson had the same concern when we met earlier this week, what we've done on this second floor plan, if you can zoom into this area, is we've intentionally blocked out half of the windows on that east side. If required to garner support, we would block out this entire. Now, the exterior would still have a window look exterior. The interior would be blocked out. That is something I believe that we can support and the owner would support.
So right now you have a couple blocked out and a couple you can look out through.
Yes, sir.
That concerns me as well. Also, parking's going to be an issue. It's already an issue now in the shopping center with Hair Unlimited. It's an issue in the parking in the center with with the M&M's chicken and waffles. So it's going to be an issue. And I think Mr. Jackson knows firsthand from being a longtime resident over there, it's definitely going to spill over to his street. You can go by there any morning, Saturday, and you can see half the folks from the barbershop, be it employees, the actual barbers, actually park on N Street, and they're all up and down N Street, not just a small portion. So at this time, I think we may have to go back to the drawing board one more time. I won't be able to support it because I think the site is overbuilt.
It is, if I could address your latest comments, our original plan had the building up against Mr. Jackson's property or more adjacent to Mr. Jackson's property, and the parking was at Martin Luther King. There's only so many ways we can cut the property up. I'm not being facetious, I'm being honest.
Mr. Chairman, is the plan that you're referring to the plan that's been submitted to our staff?
This was the previous plan. The plan that we're referring to tonight has been submitted to staff and has been reviewed.
Minus
You've
the
made some
modifications.
changes.
I made some changes.
And we can't consider that tonight because that was not submitted to staff.
I'm trying to demonstrate that at one point we had the parking at MLK so that people would not throw things over the wall. At this point we have the parking off of MLK, and the concern is that people would throw things off the wall. We've tried both scenarios. Neither scenario has been liked. At some juncture we're going to have parking.
Well, have you tried this scenario?
Yes, sir.
Reduce the size of the building and get the parking that's allowed by code and live with that.
We have tried that scenario. When we had our previous design, we were at a level where the projected cash flow of the property would pay its debt service. It's a function of a reputation.
I'm not here to deal with cash flow. We're here to make land use decisions. And I understand you're trying to build a building that's going to maximize your cash flow, but what I'm looking at is how that building's going to affect the quality of life of people that have put long-term investments in that area. That's the angle I'm looking at it from. So
I understand, and the owner has a long-term investment in this property as well. The point I was trying to make is there is a square footage that we're trying to meet. Can we bring it down? Sure. Will we be able to develop the vacant lot as it is now with the plan that has 100% of its required parking? I'm afraid not. That's answering your question.
I won't be able to support it as it's overbuilt right now.
Mr. Chairman, just one last comment. I think I understand your business concern to turn a profit on this.
To make debt service.
Pardon?
To make debt service.
Whatever. I mean, it's the issue though is as the Commissioner has indicated is the land use issue, and I'd like to see something built there. I think most people would, but I think we have to protect Mr. Jackson. He has a home there. You're intending to build a relatively large, 7,000 square foot commercial structure, which doesn't meet the conditions outlined in our code. The residential adjacency, the trash enclosures, the access, the parking. I think you need to figure something out that would satisfy Mr. Jackson. And I think we, as a commission, have to look at his rights as well. He may not have the resources that you do or the same size of, but he has rights. And you're not meeting the code, and the burden is up to you.
Sure.
To make sure that whatever you build protects everyone, and at the end of the day, it benefits the city. So,
Thank you. Mr. Ellsworth? Commissioner Ellsworth?
Yes, and I'll keep it brief, but I echo the words of Commissioner Evans here. The burden's on you. I respect what you've done. I see what you've done. You're working hard to try to find some way to make this fit. And that's good, because that's what we need to do, and we all want to see it develop. It's better than sitting there as vacant land. But my concern right now is this. I don't know what I'm voting on. Am I voting on the new plans that you're talking about now, which haven't been submitted yet? Because if that's the case, I don't know how we can do that. I don't know how I can cast a vote and put some kind of conditions on it that say, well, it's got to be according to those new plans or not. I think you're premature, and I'm giving you an out here, because right now you're going to get knocked down if you don't switch your thinking here. And my thoughts are this. Go back to the drawing board. Try to find some way to make it fit. It's one thing if we got parking on the north or the south where there's plenty of parking going on and you're a little overbuilt. I can see the commission at times saying, okay, well, it's good enough. But here, everybody's got problems, north and south, and you're just going to add to the problems. And we don't want to do that. Let's try to find some way. I'm sympathetic to your point about, like, I need the square footage in order to make the cash flows work, the debt service. Yeah, and that's a balance, but we have to strike the balance, and that's what Commissioner Evans is saying. We've got to strike the balance between the existing homeowners and you trying to do debt service, but that's really not our concern about the numbers. We're here to look at land use issues. That's why I echo what they're saying. So I recommend you take this back to the drawing board and try to find a better solution.
I completely understand and respect the opinions of everyone who's spoken. Not a doubt about it. And again, I wasn't trying to justify what we do as a profession, only to answer the question of shrinking the building. It was not an option business-wise.
And we understand that, but there probably are other options out there. I don't think you've explored all of them yet. I think if you put some effort into it, you could probably still find a solution that makes everybody happy.
Thank you. And I think that just to sum it up, without the plans actually on file with the Planning Commission and the changes that you've made, the requests that you're making may not even comply with the public notices that are required. So I think that the consensus probably is that we take it back and give it one more try and give the proper plans to the Planning Commission staff and let them review them. So I think of motions in order if we're ready.
Mr. Chairman, on item, I guess it would be items 9 and 11 and 13, I would request
15. And 15.
And 15. I would request to hold these items. Or let me ask Director Wheeler to keep it on the proper cycle.
Here's the option. If indeed the new plans are within what we've noticed, and that's the set that we're going to look at, it may well be possible for us to bring them back to you at your next meeting. However, the risk is that if they do not fall within what we have noticed, then we would have to go back and start again. But at this point in time, there's no reason to know that we couldn't analyze the plans that he has with him this evening within 2 weeks, if it turns out that they are within with the original notice.
Let me ask the applicant, can 2 weeks or 30 days?
2 weeks. And let me clarify, the only thing that has changed on this plan is the location of the trash enclosure, which we would submit to the commission that you would deny the variance for the trash enclosure setback from residential property. We have fixed that. I'm not sure that we would have to notice that a variance to the public that a variance has gone away. We still do have other variances, so that particular, I believe it's item number 10, it would still be here, with the exception of the trash enclosure would meet the minimum requirements, and we would ask that we would be conditioned to meet the minimum trash enclosure requirement.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I thought I heard that there were other changes as well, not just the
building
trash enclosure. I thought maybe there was a building, a second floor that moved forward or back. So I think that your direction was correct. Let's see what it is the applicant wants to build, and then you can vote accordingly.
The 2 weeks may well be fine. It'll depend on our analysis.
Very good.
Thank you.
Also, within that 2 week period, try to get that letter from the homeowners association.
Yes, sir.
With their approval, and also please document your record of your meetings with Mr. Jackson as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That'd be my motion for 2 weeks.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Motion carries. We now move to item number 21, 22, and 23 as related items. Item number 21 is variance 34008. That the applicant is American West Petroleum, the owner is FAM Capital LLC, to allow a 0-foot side yard setback where 10 feet is the minimum required, and to allow a residential adjacency setback of 20 feet where 57 feet is required at the southwest corner of Sahara Avenue and Valley View Boulevard. Item number 22 is a special use permit 34006 for a beer wine cooler off-sale establishment. And item number 23 is site development review 24010 for proposed 3,018 square foot convenience store with fuel pumps and a waiver to allow a 0-foot landscape buffer on a portion of the south and west perimeter where 8 feet is the minimum required, and to allow a waiver of the building placement and orientation standards. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to demolish the existing structure on the site and replace it with a new convenience store with fuel pumps. The new convenience store will be located with a 0-foot side yard setback and will provide a 20-foot setback from the residential property located to the south. In addition, the applicant has requested waivers of landscape buffer widths and building placement. The applicant could move the location of the building and/or reduce the square footage of that building in order to reduce or eliminate the variances. Staff finds the requested variance and waivers to be a self-imposed hardship, and as such recommends denial of all applications.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open and ask anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter to approach the microphone and give your name and for the record and to sign in to make it easier on the city clerk staff.
Good evening. Ken Ballard, 1950 East Warm Springs Road. Here on behalf of the client, and I'd first like to thank the staff and commission for accepting the previous abeyances while we were out of town. To address the issue of the first application of the variance, the variance is for a 0-foot setback where I believe 57 is required. The 57 feet requirement would put the structure somewhere around here, which would utilize the site as unusable. What we have done is place it on the site, provided all the landscape required, short of where the variance occurs, where the building sets. The adjacent area buildings are built up to the 20-foot setback. We're at the back of the alley already, so we feel that we're somewhat in compliance with the surrounding areas how it's currently built. So that's the variance issue. The use being compatible, it's currently a convenience store. It's a little run down and misuse, and there's been several violations on the site. This new owner is looking to come in here, clean up the site, replace the 4 drive cuts with 2, which makes it a safer, more inviting, corner and intersection. So we're proposing that, and then the other one would be just for the site plan review, which speaks for itself, if you will. I have diagrams to show the elevations, the setback issue along the alleyway that's existing, and how the other buildings address that alleyway. So with that, I open it up for comments and questions.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Mr. Farlow.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. How wide is that alley?
It's currently 20 feet.
Okay. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible action.
Well, I would certainly like to hear what my colleagues have to say, but I did visit your site twice. First time when you applied and just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And my concern, I have about 4. The first would be that it's encroaching so closely to the neighborhood that although the alley you said is 20 feet, it really buffers right into the back of those neighbors. And I drove down San Bernardino Street, and I saw nothing but children and kids, and I'm a little bit concerned about them jumping that wall to get an ice cream, and the trucks going down, and the alleys being extremely small. So safety was a concern for me. The second concern I have, and this isn't a problem for you, but we already have 2 such businesses on the other 2 corners that seem to be adequately taking care of that type of need. And then the third thing was, it amazed me that the traffic assessment by the city and by the staff says that it's going to increase by another 55 cars, I don't know, per hour, per whatever it was, but it just that area is so congested as it is. The only positive side that I saw with your building is it's going to make the corner look better, and it's going to improve what is there. And so I have a lot of concerns. It's a ward that I keep a close eye on, and I'm interested to hear what my colleagues have to say. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I address a couple of those first, or do you want to continue?
You can answer
All right.
them for this.
And I don't know what to say other than thank you for going and visiting it. Yes, the alleyway is there. The 20 feet setback is what it is. It's not going to get any smaller as far as alleyway goes. So we have addressed that. So the alleyway is a concern, and by Jason putting the building along there, is not going to keep traffic from coming or going along that alleyway.
Where would the garbage trucks go?
The trash enclosures located here, and so they would have access either off of Valley View or Sahara, and they would not be coming down the alley like they currently do for all the other businesses on site. So we've addressed that by eliminating that as well.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Or?
Mr. Chairman, I agree. I mean, improving the corner is important, and we'd like to see that. If you look at your layout here, and staff and Public Works can look at this, if you go to the second fueling island, if somebody's at the pump closest to the store and there's somebody pulls in and they pull across a drive into the pump at the second, this site's shut down. I mean, the chance on probably one of the busiest streets in the city of Las Vegas, and Valley View may well be the second busiest north-south route here.
Yeah.
There's no way for that second. I mean, where's the queuing? Where's the stacking?
The way
everybody makes the right turn is going to go right into the canopy, and that's going to compete with everybody that's coming into the convenience store. And there's not really. I mean, you can answer the question, but I've looked at enough of these.
Sure.
There's no way this can function properly.
Well, according to what's required, for the drive lanes at 24 feet, and then the stacking that allows the car to hang out beyond the pump, we meet all those setbacks and requirements. There's 35 feet there, so there's enough room for a vehicle to hang halfway out. Vehicles 18 feet will use a parking standard. That's 9 feet. 9 feet plus a 24 is 33 feet. So we're right at that space requirement for proper circulation to work. I understand your concerns. It's something that we address as well, and we pulled it back as close as we could. And if another couple of feet are worthy, we can bring it definitely closer to the seesaw side of things. But then that starts getting into the same traffic concerns, so we split the difference down the middle.
Okay. And this is on a street. The eastbound traffic is at such a volume, and it's supposed to travel at 35 miles an hour, I guess. I think that's the current posted speed there.
As well as school zone.
I'm going to ask staff this question. All the traffic coming into that drive there is coming from the west. I mean, there's no way to make any other movement in there. And all of that traffic is going to go through a canopy that looks, if you have a car on both sides of the canopy, you can't get through. I mean, I don't know how this circulates.
There's enough room.
I mean, I'm going to let staff answer this one, okay?
Lucian Pyatt, Public Works. In looking at this drawing, there may have been some things that could have changed to show the access for the site. I'll address the access for the site, first of all. It's to the farthest west it can go, so as far as accessing the site, this is the site. We try to avoid getting closer to the intersection because it's harder to get into the street if you're too close to the intersection of Sahara and Valley View. I do see the concern that there's going to be some queuing problems if they have it the way it's shown. But they do have a larger driveway than is standard.
Well, I mean, in theory, we could make the driveway bigger, but it's still the only access is through a canopy that is designed for cars to be parking and pumping fuel. I just imagine a mother with a car full of kids in a minivan stopped at that first pump. Somebody's making the right turn. They're right in the canopy. They're right there.
I guess I'm having a little hard time seeing exactly where what we're talking about here.
Those 6 dots under that that square
Yeah, that's
box,
that's the
those are the
canopy.
pump islands.
Yep, and it's
The only way in that facility, the only way is to go right through that section between those two pump islands. That means every bit of traffic coming from the west, except maybe the fueling truck, is gonna wind up going through. You can't make the turn to go right of the canopy. I mean, we can't have people
There's-
making a 180-degree
There's
turn.
adequate room to make that as far as drive lanes are concerned. Am I not right?
well. It appears to me that there is adequate room to make drive lanes work on site. I mean, Public Works typically is not concerned about on-site circulation.
Okay,
Unless
then I'll be
it
concerned about
refers
it because
to the
this is a
cause
site
traffic
plan
on public
review
street.
and variance. I think reasonable people would look at this and go, how's a car from the west going to get, if they're just going to the convenience store, they've got their only drive aisle is through the canopy. There's absolutely no functioning pathway.
It appears there's a drive aisle on the further to the west. To be honest with you, and it looks like
Maybe maybe there's a different drawing than what's in front of us.
Well, I think what he's referring to is this drive aisle here to the west and then one to the east. There's one through here and then one back through here to get to the convenience store. There's also plenty of room for the standards is that we followed for developing the canopy is a vehicle parked fueling, plus 18 feet to drive the vehicle through the middle if need be. But there is a 24-foot drive lane here as well as adequate drive lane on the east.
But what about your peak? What about your peak times where, I mean, the traffic, I mean, you've got if the fueling truck's in there dumping gas.
Not at peak deliveries, no.
Well, we say that, but what we say and what we actually see is usually two different things. I mean, the traffic count on Sahara, the amount of people that are going in. I mean, I don't know if you ever notice what goes on at the Rebel store that's sitting next to the Burger King. I mean, it's hell trying to get in and out of there.
Well, and that's because they have two drive lanes on each side of the street, one directly on the corner and one further away. We've eliminated the two drive cuts that currently sit here to help address this issue by only providing one on each street, which is usually a recommendation by Public Works is to eliminate the ones directly on the corner, which we have, and then just provide the outside ones.
But what if you what if you're coming east down Sahara and you pull in there to fill up, and then you want to go back out on Sahara Boulevard? How do you get back out?
If you come in here, park here per se, and want to get back onto Sahara,
you
can come out this way, or you can loop around that way. And the fuel truck, they don't dump during rush hour. They dump.
And what if you've
early
got
in
two
the morning.
motor homes in there fueling? I mean,
I don't like dealing with what ifs. I really don't, because we can what if until we're really far. I understand the concern, but the what ifs, I can't address it. There's no way for me to give you an answer to a what if.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just address the traffic issue that was talked about. Our numbers show 55 during the peak hour additional cars added are being generated from the site. So, and we're talking about 1 to 2% increase. So, from a traffic capacity standpoint, this particular site is not, overburdening Sahara or Valley View. It's a very small percentage addition to the capacity.
And I mean, real quickly, because unless there are any other comment, I'm not saying this site is an overburden on it. I think what it's designed for and where it sits, it's betting on the traffic being there, and the traffic cannot. I'm not saying what if, but tell me if you believe this is the best solution, the safest for the customer, the safest as all these convenience stores that have been built around the valley, that this is the appropriate ingress and egress where all the traffic is directed through the canopy. That's not a what if. Just tell me, do you believe that's the absolute best it is?
As an employee with Susanna Ruta Architect, and Susanna being an architect and approving this layout, she is obligated to think of public safety. And so we would never be here with something that doesn't meet these standards.
I'm asking you, not Suzanne. She's not here.
Correct. And I agree that this is the best layout. To orientate this canopy in any other direction will not work for the site. There's no way to get in and no way to get out if we were to orientate it any other direction. The building being located on the rear property line, as it's shown, allows for the best circulation. I've gone through numerous site plans to come to this, knowing that this is the best solution with respects to traffic flow, eliminating the two corners, getting a fuel truck in, and as well as parking it and getting people in and out of the site safely.
What if you reduce it to a 4-island canopy?
Just using these two?
I can't see what you're drawing or what you're showing. But yes.
And then this is a vast empty field of nothing. I mean, it could be a possibility.
Well, or alternatively, center the two, as opposed to having 6. Center the 4 of them right there in the middle. Instead of just saying eliminate.
It's a possibility. I mean, it's something that we didn't do on purpose because the requirement for the program of this site is 6. Currently, there's 6 pumps on this site already. I don't know if if staff has a map of the current site plan, and we can talk about their circulations. We're improving
but all that's built on is just like the previous applicant. All that is built on is making money. That's what that 6 is.
It's built on. Currently, it's a convenience store with fuel stations. There's 6 pumps. We're improving that site. We're not eliminating any number of pumps. We're leaving them with 6. There's 4 and there's 2 off to the side. Is there not 2 off to the side?
That envisions a smaller building so they could create the canopy off to the site. That's how they got 6.
It's not a smaller building, though. I mean, the difference.
The existing building?
The difference in square footage is maybe 200 square feet.
Oh.
So, I understand these concerns, but I think for us as the designers to accommodate public safety, yes, this is the best solution. I wouldn't present something that wasn't.
Well, I don't feel in good conscience that it is good for public safety, and if everybody's finished, I'm ready to make a motion.
Then, before you go to motion, can I ask what the major concerns are so we can then maybe try to address this as we go forward? Is it the setback? Is it the fuel canopy being so close to the drive cut? It's a combination? Because I don't understand, because we were, the question was about the variance. That's how we started, and now it moved into the fuel pump. So I'm concerned as what's the real concern? Is it the fuel pumps?
We do have a picture here. My colleague just showed me that shows only that you have 4 fuel pumps.
4 there?
Acting now.
Forgive me. The site plan I had when I started.
When I was there today or yesterday, I saw 4, and I count 4 here today.
That's fine.
This was yesterday. Is that correct, sir? And this seems to kind of give more room. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the picture for you right there. And you said that it was 6. So is it 4? Or is
I apologize.
It 6?
It's
okay.
So in this
4.
picture, there's depicted 4. I thought there was one over here. The original site plan I had when this thing was constructed back in the 60s, I believe, had fuel islands over here. So they're gone now, but originally this thing was designed for 6 fuel stations.
You asked what our concerns are. Mine are probably more along the lines of the waiver of the landscaping and also the one-site traffic circulation.
Can I address the landscape?
I think.
Just for the record, landscape. Although there's a waiver to reduce landscape along the south property line, the quantity of trees and square footage of required landscape exceeds what would be required if there was no variance or no request for a waiver on landscape. So although it is deficient along here, we've made it up elsewhere to meet the requirements of square footage as well as tree count.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready for a motion, I believe?
Yeah. I'm going to make a motion for number 21, variance 34008, to follow staff's recommendation of denial at this time.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Going on to number 22, SUP 34006. I'd like to continue with that motion of denial following staff's recommendations at this time. Thank you.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote.
going with number 23, abeyance SDR 34010, following staff's recommendation at this time for denial. Thank you.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Thank you.
All matters go forward to the council on July 15th.
Have a good evening.
We're now dealing with item number 24, RQR 33738. The applicant is Randy Black. Owner is FM and Nancy L. Corrigan Trust. Required review of previously approved variance, which allowed a 55-foot tall, 14-foot by 48-foot off-premise sign at 921 North Buffalo. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, please, I'm going to have to abstain on this item as my company is working on another project involving Mr. Black in another jurisdiction.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Title 19-14-100 limits the size of off-premise signage to a maximum of 672 square feet. During the site inspection, staff found the structure had two different size signs, with one that appeared to exceed Title 19 size requirements. Additionally, the structural elements behind the larger sign were easily visible to the public and created an obnoxious situation. As the sign does not meet Title 19-14-100 size requirements, staff is recommending denial of this request. Please note we have received additional protests after publication.
Thank you. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Tony Celeste. Address is 3800 Howard Hughes Parkway. Here on behalf of Mr. Randy Black. As staff noted, or as also is noted in their staff report, all of our building permits and filing fees and everything are in order. We do need to reduce one side of our billboard to the 672 square feet that is permitted by code. We commit to doing that between now and City Council, as we have on our other billboard applications. And we agree to all of the, if approved, conditions. If I can answer any questions, I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone.
Thank you. Todd Carlo, 240 North 19th Street. I want to know if they're keeping this nice.
There were no concerns with the maintenance of this sign.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask this of the staff? Other than the issue raised, is there any other issues with regard to this?
There are not at this time. If the sign was in conformance to the requirement of Title 19 and the approved conditions, staff would have recommended that.
And you've made a commitment to rectify that prior to the action before the City Council?
Right, and I believe that's 30 days before we go to. I just want to make sure I do give my guy enough. If it's 30 days, I think we can get it done before City Council.
July 15th.
Okay, July 15th. Yes.
Then, if there's no discussion and you've made that,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
just a comment down here. It seems to me that this sign is out of place. It may have been okay when it was erected, some time ago. Since then, the parks come in. I didn't see any other sign anywhere near there. Anything on Buffalo, either north or south. I'm sure there's nothing on Washington there. And I think I noticed on driving south on Buffalo, you can't even see the sign as you're driving south there. It's obstructed by trees or maybe by the bar there. I just think that the time has come for the sign to go away. I think it's a very nice area, and I think this sign really detracts from the area.
And that was my question: has the area changed since the last approval and the last review? And if this were approved, how long before I know we've changed the time parameters, how long before the next review?
Is it 3 years, I believe, is the...
Mr. Chairman, it would be 3 years.
And I would just like to briefly comment on the surrounding neighborhood. The homes in the area have actually, the majority of this area, I believe, has not changed substantially, save and except for the addition of the park. The homes in the area, most of those were built in either 1988 or 1989, according to my research. The commercial centers in this area have been here for some time as well. The billboard has been here for about 13 years also. So with the exception of the park there along Summerlin Parkway, I believe it is, I don't think there has been much change in the neighborhood.
I don't disagree with that. I guess I would just say that, I think when this came in, that was probably all vacant land next to the freeway, and I think with the addition of the park, there's a whole different feel, in my opinion, to the neighborhood.
I can only add that, yes, the park is new, and I believe the park has probably been planned for some time as well, but only that I could just say that the rest of the neighborhood, the homes, the other commercial centers in the area have been there longer than the sign, actually. So the sign came after. And during the other required reviews, it was deemed appropriate.
Although I think this does show there were 19 protests.
There are protest cards and most of them are from the residents in that area. That is correct.
23. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to defer to my colleague who is clearly more familiar with this area than I am.
I live just a matter of blocks from this particular residence, and as Commissioner Buckley said, when you're coming south on Buffalo, you don't even see it because of trees that are along there. The park has been developed much more recently than the sign was erected, but the residential units that are around that particular parcel have been there in excess of, well, let's just say longer than the sign has been there. Some of the protests that came in noted specifically that there was already one sign on that property. And my read of the protests were that they were under the impression this would be a second sign.
Right.
And it's not. It's simply an extension of the existing one. I think that when we make decisions regarding, required reviews, I think that we're somehow bound to take a look at the development that's occurred in the area and see if it has substantially changed the character. And quite frankly, I think the addition of the park, it's 100 yards away, a couple hundred yards away, really doesn't substantially change the character of the neighborhood that is impacted by this. I think the homes that are there have been there for longer than the sign. We've had no particular complaints. We've had no enforcement issues with the sign, and I don't have any problem with the sign continuing with the provision that both sides of the sign be absolutely restricted to the 672 square feet permitted by the code.
And we, as I mentioned, pledged to that prior to City Council, getting staff the appropriate information they need to evaluate it.
Well, having said that, we've got a motion that's coming from someplace. I can't make one.
Well, I guess if no one else would like to make a motion, I will make a motion for denial of item number 24 for the reasons I stated.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote.
This is a motion to deny.
Please post. Motion to deny passes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to item number 25.
That will go forward to City Council on July 15th.
Very good. We now go to item number 25, which is variance 34-260. The applicant owner is Paul Krolodziski to allow an 8-foot, sorry for the butcher, to allow an 8-foot side yard setback where 10 feet is required for proposed 296 square foot room addition at 2640 Port of Call Drive. Staff report, please.
The applicant, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to construct a room addition at the rear of the existing single-family home. The lot is irregularly shaped, tapers to the rear, with the result that the proposed addition, which follows the line of the existing wall of the residence, will encroach into the required side yard setback by 2 feet. Denial of this variance would require the addition be redesigned or reduced in size to meet the requirements of Title 19.08. Staff is recommending approval of this request as the applicant has provided evidence of an extraordinary or unique circumstance by reason of the shape of the lot. Additional letters of protest and approval have been received for this item.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Thank you. Sir?
Yes, as stated, I'm the homeowner, and I want to build a 296 square foot, approximately, room addition in the back. On my sides, I have 5 feet from my house to the wall, and I'm piercing that 5 foot boundary by approximately a foot and a half. And that's my request. I believe I have it's zoned for 0 and 10 feet on either side, but I'm at 5 and 5, so it'd be 5 and 3.5.
Okay, so would you accept the conditions as suggested by staff, which is if approved, shall be void 2 years from the date of final approval unless a certificate of occupancy has been issued. So you've got okay. If they approve it, you would have an okay to go ahead for a 2 year period. At the end of the 2 years, you'd have to reapply if you've not completed your work. Made it?
Oh, yeah, they'd have 2 years to complete the work. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm ready to build immediately.
Okay. So you'll accept the condition is my question.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn over to the Planning Commission for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, I don't normally support variances, but this one, the lot is a very unique shape, and I can't see how it could reasonably get there, and the encroachment is a very minor one. So I'll make a motion for approval if there are no other comments.
Motion's been made.
Following staff's recommendations.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
And that is final action in the absence of an appeal within 10 days.
Okay, thank you.
We now move to item number 33.
Thank you.
Item number 32. The applicant is Clear Channel. It's RQR 34321. It's the applicant is Clear Channel Outdoor Inc. Owner is Bartas Mary 13 LLC. It's required to review a previously approved special use permit for a 14 by 48 foot off-premise sign, which replaced a 12 by 24 foot sign at 3941 North Rancho Drive. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, staff is changing the recommendation on this as the applicant has completed all of their reviews and final inspections. Staff notes that there has been no change in this area, and there will be no significant adverse impact regarding the continued use of the sign, and is recommending approval with a 3-year review.
Now that declare the public hearing open, anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and state your name for the record, Mr.
Thank you. Todd Farland, 240 North 19th Street. I thought in the housekeeping items this was obeyed until 6:25.
That was a request, but because the...
Oh, I see. It was a request. But
yes.
Anyone else wishing to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, unless there's any discussion, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post.
Goes forward to council on July 15th.
Item number 33 and related item 34. 33 is a special use permit 34255. The applicant owner is the River of Life Ministries, Inc., request for a special use permit for a church house of worship at 5300 North Rainbow Boulevard. Item number 34 is Site Development Review 34254 for a proposed conversion of an existing 5,313 square foot single-family residence to a church house of worship with a waiver of the perimeter landscape buffer standards to allow a 0-foot landscape buffer along a portion of the southern property line where 8 feet is the minimum required. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed conversion of the single-family dwelling into a church house of worship will have 11 associated parking spaces, including 1 handicap accessible space. The applicant has not indicated an ADA accessible route, and a condition of approval has been added, which would require a subsequent revised site plan to show the ADA route. Also, a condition of approval will require 24-inch box Italian cypress trees to be located on the north and west side of the paved driveway to prevent vehicular access to the undeveloped areas on the west and south side of the site in order to reduce the desire to park in the unimproved areas. There is a requirement for a trail along Rainbow. However, if the trail is installed at this time, it would require a transition between the 2 existing sidewalks that are there. As such, staff has added a condition for a covenant running with the land to be recorded at the time the full trail can be installed and not require a huge transition area between the 2 sites. Staff is recommending approval of the item. Please note we do have a condition change if approved, which reads as follows. Prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy by the church, the applicant shall provide a letter to the Planning Development Department for their service provider confirming that curbside trash pickup is acceptable. If such a letter cannot be provided, a trash enclosure meeting all requirements of Title 19.08 shall be provided on the site. Please note we have received additional protests after posting.
And that additional conditions on the site plan, number 34?
That's correct. I'm sorry, that is item number 34.
Thank you. Now to declare the public hearing open. Ask anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter to approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Sign in, please.
Yes, my name is George Higgins, and I'm in favor of this. We are applying for a use permit for this property. We just bought this property back in February, and we're applying to use this property as a house of worship. Our services are usually held Sunday morning and Sunday evening. They usually run 2 or 3 hours. Wednesdays and Thursdays we have meetings, and all those meetings are usually 2 to 3 hours. So basically we're looking at probably 12 hours a week to use this property as a house of worship. And if I may address the situation you mentioned, the trash. I've been in contact with Republic Services, and I requested a letter because we've indicated that we'd like to use the totes, and the gentleman said that they don't do that, and I indicated that I was appearing here tonight, and anyway, to make a long story short, what I did was we ordered 3 totes. That's no indication. I don't have anything. I have no confirmation of the fact that they are going to allow us. He said it's okay. He allowed me to order the 3 totes, and of course they're 2 and 3 months behind. Other than that, I don't know if I can get Republic Service to give me a letter to indicate that it'd be okay to have the totes rather than the enclosed trash bin.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. I'd like to ask the applicant if this is also going to be used as a parsonage. That's one. I would like to go into more detail on the parking, how many church members they expect to come here. And basically, I'll tell you, I'm against these conversions. They're taking the property off the tax rolls for, I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, I'm just against it.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Turn it over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
On your site plan, I see you have a courtyard.
Yes.
You've got a courtyard, you've got a spa. I mean,
That's enclosed in that, yeah. If you'll notice the building here, right outside here is a courtyard, and there is a spa in there.
that's existing?
Yes.
Where's the design of where's the church?
We're going to hold it in the residence.
Spa's part of it? Put holy water in there? Or
No. We could baptize people there.
baptize people in the spa? Or?
Yes, yes. It looks like it's deep enough.
So the courtyard, that's outdoors?
That is outdoors, yes.
So that's where the services will be held?
No, sir. Services will be held inside.
I'm seeing classrooms, offices.
There should be indication of a meeting room.
I see gathering room.
A gathering room, yes. There's two gathering rooms.
So there's
yes.
two gathering rooms.
Yes.
They're both separate. One gathering room has access to the kitchen, the powder room, and storage. So is the smaller gathering room is where the services will be held?
No, we're going to be using the gathering room in both places. The kitchen is in there, but we also, facing to the west, is the majority of the area, and of course that other adjacent room there.
How many people do you have in your congregation?
Well, 50 to 55.
And obviously your intent is to grow.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Mr. Commissioner?
Could I,
Sir?
may I address the gentleman here was questioning whether or not we're going to have a parsonage? We're not going to have a parsonage. Our pastors already have their home, so there's no parsonage there. There won't be no one living there.
Thank you. Mr. Quinn?
Mr. Rankin, you said something about the disabled access of the facility itself was not right, or was not.
The applicant didn't provide the ADA accessible route, which is required by Title 19 and the building code, and we just need a revised plan showing the ADA accessible route. Prior to any final, the route will have to be there.
Do you have that, sir?
I'm not sure what you're indicating. Are you indicating about the driveway?
The code requirement requires you to provide a handicap accessible route from your handicap spaces and the public right-of-way to the entrance of the building, the closest building, and it's a requirement of all development to do that. It's a federal requirement.
I'm not aware of that.
In order to get my support, sir, I would have to see that.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Please.
And did you say you have a pastor over this
Yes.
religious? And are you the pastor?
No, I'm not the pastor. I'm an elder. I'm the treasurer. I'm the accountant, and so forth.
Okay, so you're an active participant in the organization.
Yes.
And if I want to make sure I understand, how many acres is this lot?
3.52.
3.52.
Yes.
And right now, and you bought the whole lot, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And there's existing a house in the center of that lot. Looks like it's roughly in the center of it.
That is correct.
And you're going to convert that house to your church house.
A meeting place, yes.
It'll be your meeting place.
That's correct.
And that's all it's going to be used for is your meeting place.
That's all it is, yes.
And you said that's roughly 12 hours per week.
Yes,
Right.
as I said, we have Sunday morning service, Sunday evening service. There's a Wednesday and a Thursday night service.
And I see plenty of room to park the cars because we
Yes.
have 3.2 acres and
Yes.
and it's it's only a 3,000, 4,000 square foot home right in the center of it, right?
It's more than that. It's almost 5, I think.
5,000 square foot home right in the
5,000
center.
square foot,
There's
yes.
plenty of park. All right, and Commissioner Quinn's point is well taken. You need to make sure that you're ADA compliant, but I assume that you won't have any trouble with becoming ADA compliant. Am I?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm a novice at this, so I don't know.
That's going to mean that someone can get in their wheelchair and go from the street to the door
from
into the
street.
building.
Oh, I see. From the street to the residence.
Into
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I can't imagine you'd have any objection to that.
Oh, I
correct?
would definitely not have any objections to that.
Okay. Well, unless there's further discussion, I'd make a motion to approve. These are items 33 and 30. Let's begin with 33.
Commissioner Ellsworth,
Yes.
Before you make the motion, I note that item 33 is the special use permit, and I'm basically in agreement with you. If the applicant complies with and agrees with the standards, I don't think that this would be an issue. But I do note that there are a number of adjacent homes, even though this is a relatively large lot, and I'm wondering if in your motion you would consider a period of review to review the special use permit to ensure that there hasn't been any problem. I think that would provide a level of protection.
I think that's acceptable and well spoken.
Thank you very much.
We don't have a problem with that.
Okay. And so motion's in order for item number 33.
And have that be a review in 12 months? Is that acceptable?
24.
Well, if I may, if your condition is that you want to see the SUP back to see if the use is incompatible, I would say that would be then a year following the final inspection on the conversion of the building to the church use.
I think that's correct. Thank you.
And would that be a review at a public hearing of the Planning Commission?
I think so.
Or administrative, whichever you prefer?
I'm comfortable with administrative
Okay.
if there's no major
So there will
objection
be a
to it.
review, an administrative review of the special use permit 1 year after the final inspection for change of occupancy.
And would that review, Ms. Wheeler, include the disabled access?
The disabled access would be required prior to them beginning the work
Oh, I
on
see.
the,
Thank you.
on the conversion.
Okay.
I have one more question,
One
Mr.
more
Chairman, for the applicant. Are you planning on putting any tents up on the property, having revivals outdoors or any services outside?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion has been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Item 33 carries. Number 34, please.
Likewise, make a motion for approval of item number 34 as outlined.
That was with an additional condition as read in by staff?
Yes.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote.
Mr. Chairman, I want to explain why I'm not supporting this effort. I keep looking at this plan, and I see this courtyard, and I see a church here that will have people potentially in this courtyard, and there's no way for them to get out of the building. I mean, there's just exiting issues, minor safety issues. Is the building appropriate in what's presented for us? So that's why my motion is not to support this.
May I address that, please?
Please do.
There are exits going out of that area. If you're looking at the plans, you'll see that there is doors going in from the residence to the courtyard, from the courtyard also going outside on the other side.
And
yes.
if you're asking people to exit through an intervening building, is what it's called.
Oh.
So if someone's in that courtyard and the fire's in the house, where they go? Well, I mean, this is a real concern for because you're talking about a church that is gathering and you've got classrooms, and if they're in that courtyard, getting out it's impossible the way this is shown. So I just want to explain why I can't support this. Thank you.
Just real quickly, my reason for it is I represent an area that has 95 churches in a 5 mile square radius, and when you take these residential homes off the tax rolls, that hurts the area. It's nothing against the church. I love the church and love the Lord as well. But when you start to take these houses and convert them into churches, they should be in the appropriate place, is what I'm saying. Thank you.
Well, I live on the other side of town, and I actually live in an area where there's 10 churches, probably within an area of 3 miles. And I understand the tax rolls. I do.
Thank you. Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Thank you.
Both matters go forward to the City Council on July 15th.
July 15th.
We now move to item
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 35, special use permit 34267. The applicant is Wayne Higdon owner of Les and Stanley Kwok, for an auto repair garage major at 3425 North Rancho Drive, Suite 120. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to convert an existing auto garage minor repair to an auto garage major repair use within a commercial development that currently contains a number of similar uses that have been in operation since 2005. Staff is recommending approval of this request as the conversion to a major repair use will not negatively impact the subject development or the adjacent developments.
Thank you. I'd like to now declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak in regards to this matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record and sign in. Sir?
Hi, Wayne Higdon, 7740 Leon Avenue. I've been established there since '01. We've had no problems dealing with things the way they were, but our business has grown, our customer base has grown. We've got the staff and the facility to do the work, and I need to take care of my employees, and not being able to do part of the what the customers are asking us to do makes it more difficult to do that. It's hard to turn work away in today's economy.
Certainly. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to planning commissioners for discussion. I'll ask the first question, and that is, do you accept the, if approved, conditions as prepared by staff? There was 5 of them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if may, in light of the recommendation for approval, unless there's any comment, I move for approval of this item.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Motion carries.
Goes forward to City Council on July 15th.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Item number 36 is a special use permit, 33331. The applicant is L. Eric Culverson, the owner of the Village Square Shopping Center, LLC. It's for a massage establishment with a waiver to allow a 0-foot distance separation from a residentially zoned property where 400 feet is the minimum required, and to allow a 0-foot distance separation from 2 existing massage establishments where 1,000 feet is the minimum required at 9440 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 215. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to locate a massage establishment within a commercial subdivision that contains 2 existing massage establishments and is located immediately adjacent to residentially zoned property to the north. As a result, waivers of the required minimum distance separations have been requested. The required distance separations are intended to prevent an oversaturation of the massage establishment use within a limited area and to provide a buffer between the proposed use and the protected residential properties. Staff is recommending denial of this request as the proposed massage establishment is not compatible with the surrounding uses. Additional letters of protest and approval have been received for this item.
Thank you. Now declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record for the applicant.
Eric Culverson, 935 Roseberry Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada. I think we need to put this in some perspective. First off, we're in a really awkward position because we leased this space with the assumption that we would just be able to operate our standard business, which, by the way, has nothing to do with massage. It's actually endomology. Endomology is a mechanical treatment that actually treats cellulite. Technically, it's sometimes referred to as a lipomassage. Now, the state has decreed that anyone involved in the endomology service basically must be a massage provider, a licensed massage provider. And then that requirement subsequently means that wherever we're at has to then be licensed for a massage. We do not actually engage in massage in the traditional sense. There's dermaware, there's a mechanical application. However, we do recognize the sensitivity in this area. We recognize the effect that it has in the overall building space that we're in. We're not here really to fight staff recommendation. I do think some clarification, however, is in order. I will allow Gretchen Giovanni, who's the National Training Director, and that's the focus of our business primarily, is to provide training on this piece of equipment, which, again, has really nothing to do with massage.
Thank you. Your name again, please? No, not. I've got yours.
Oh, fine. Okay. Gretchen Giovanni.
And so, again, I'm the training director for LPG France, and so I train people who have purchased this device throughout the United States on how the device works. And 95 to 98% of our training is done on-site at their location for chiropractors, physical therapists, doctors, and so on and so forth. And then we have 1 or 2 training that takes place at that location. So we got the permit without any difficulty because it's a very small classes of 2 and 3 people with myself around the device and explaining how the device works. And then, of course, it got classified as massage, which forced us to go underneath massage licensing, which we understand, but we don't really oppose that because I think massage therapists are best adapt to use the device, so I agree with the decision. It just puts us in an awkward situation for the location that we have taken on.
And what is this technology called?
It's called endermology, and so it's a mechanical device which has a 3-well technology, and it's used for treatments of the connective tissue. And chiropractors use it, massage therapists, estheticians. It's in 95 countries.
It's a state of Nevada requirement that all your practitioners are licensed as masseuses?
It is new here in the United States. Actually, there's only 2 states where you have to be a massage therapist. The rest of the United States, there are places where just housewives come and get trained on how to use the device. So there's not a requirement in any other state.
And the answer to your question is yes, that the state of Nevada has now decreed that all practitioners be licensed massage therapists.
And as national training director, I do agree. I mean, I think that's wonderful. In France, you are a licensed technician when you use this device, so I agree with that.
Thank you.
It just put me in a bad situation as far as location.
Okay. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter?
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. Does the special use permit die with the applicant or go away with the applicant? No. And I got a problem with it.
And again, we're not actually fighting staff recommendation on this. We began this process to get the special use permit. We were made aware of some concerns from 555, who's the leasing oversight for the building that we're in. And we're also concerned with the fact that the special use permit does not die with us.
Exactly.
So it basically makes the building subject to someone else coming in there and opening an actual massage place, which is not our intent, but
and we understand
we're just caught in a very awkward position here.
To give a heads up to staff, we might be thinking of a condition that would address that. But are you finished with your presentation?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of questions. There are existing establishments nearby. Have you spoken with them? What are their thoughts and concerns? Have you had any conversations with them?
From those that I've spoken to, most people know me there, and I've never had anyone vocally to me say anything.
Why do they know you there?
I'm just often there. I work a lot, so I'm there a lot. Constantly doing training materials, creating materials, fixing up the location.
I'm sorry, could I just clarify your question? Did you mean the other massage establishments or just the other tenants in the building?
No, I meant massage establishments, sorry.
Okay,
There's
right.
2.
Right.
I've been there.
And actually, I'm not even aware of who they are, quite frankly. Have you been there?
There was Euphoria that's closed now in the corner. So it was hair, massage, and it's now closed. And the other one, I think, is the one that's up on the second building where dietology was before. And I've been there and presented myself, but never had any return. And so I don't know if they're opposed or not.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, through you, is this equipment certified like through the FDA or the
yes,
AMA?
It is. It's FDA cleared.
Is it recognized by the American Chiropractic Association?
I believe it is. I train a lot of chiropractors.
I'm curious if there are other of these. I'm not sure what it is. It says it's a non-invasive mechanical device which massages connective tissue.
Yes.
So you strap yourself in and it does all the work for you?
Basically, as you can see in this picture, I don't know if you can see it when I open it up, you can see the technician there. There is a mechanical stimulation aspiration, a gentle aspiration, and when they put on the Dermaware, which is like a huge...
Back up. Oh, say that again.
It's there's a 3-roll technology, which is mechanically operated. There's roll in, roll up, and roll out. They put on it's kind of like, it's called Dermaware, that's what the French call it, and it's basically a body piece that allows it to flow over the body and massage the connective tissue, just the surface tissue. So its goal is to massage the fat cells, which will then generate the release of toxins and improve the elasticity and the quality of your skin.
Is there any reason why maybe this wouldn't occur in, say, a chiropractic office, a chiropractor's office?
Sure, except for my goal is really training, so I was finding a place, and it's really the administrative side that's taking place right now. And
Right, but to answer your question,
yes.
the fact that we have chiropractors as clients that have purchased a machine and then make that part of their overall business model
I've gone to training.
suggests that, yeah, indeed they are using this.
Mm-hmm.
We're primarily the training operation for this, but we wanted to be able to provide treatment in addition to the training. As a way of obviously making that just part of the business model. But once the state decreed that, okay, you have to be licensed massage therapist, then that makes the establishment a massage place, and here we are.
Yes, yes.
If I may, Chairman, just as, say, for the background of the commission, just as on an alcohol license will specify which kind of alcohol. In this way, this special use permit could be considered as a specific type of massage, and a condition such as all massage conducted at this establishment shall be by means of using an LPG mechanical device. And that would specify what type of massage is allowed here based upon what you said.
Well, that would certainly protect the city, I would think, in terms of the proliferation.
Is the applicant agreeable to that type of a condition?
I think that's totally reasonable, and however, because of business conditions, and quite frankly, we've been in limbo ever since we sort of started this process, we really will probably not be able to continue in that location anyway. We're not going to be able to subsist there anyway. So once again, we're not fighting staff's recommendation. I do think as a future note, when you look at these type businesses and you look at this particular application, then that will certainly be a valid point, and that point of distinction and clarification will protect future business people from sort of getting swept into this whole massage thing.
Excuse me, sir. Your argument is you're only going to be using this device, which is not really massage, and I think the suggestion was that we could create a condition that would require that this would be the sole function of your business, but you're not in agreement with that.
Well,
is that what I'm hearing?
And believe it or not, it's not that I'm not in agreement with that, because I think that is an excellent recommendation, and I wish, if I thought that our business was going to be okay just as a result of that. But the fact is, since we've been in this location,
since December,
we've just had so many issues, so many problems. We're going to go out of business anyway. That's sort of the bottom line.
What's causing difficulties with the location, since they've made the change to massage?
Why are we here? If you're going out of business, why are we? We're trying to accommodate you, but you're.
And it is not my intent to waste your time.
You're not going to. I just want you to know you're not getting my support without that caveat that specifies and limits exactly what it is that you intend to do. I thought that was a very creative and reasonable option.
What would have helped the situation would have been able to do facials and be able to do hands-on as far as facials along with LPG at the same time. So even if we put it just under the title of just being able to use an LPG device, which is a great idea, which is a wonderful idea, in the meantime, we've been waiting for 3 months for the ability to bring in more revenue, and it's brought us down to a difficult situation.
If I may, facial doesn't require an SUP.
Facial would not require the SUP.
What's an SUP? I'm sorry.
The special use permit that you're applying for here.
They told us it would. They told us we have not been allowed. I've been allowed to touch face or put any cream on or do anything else, and this permit the person. So I've been my clients have not been able to do what I normally do, and so it's been a real issue, and I've lost a lot of my faithful clientele that I had before, no longer.
So that's an interesting point of clarification once again, because if that's the case, then that does allow us to expand our business model within the context of what we're already doing, and avoid that we never intended to do. So yeah, absolutely, we can move forward with that.
That's what we weren't told that, so that's why it's been really difficult.
If I may, this is a land use issue that we're discussing this evening, and a facial is what is done at a beauty shop with no SUP. It is not massage. Massage is body massage, and
do the parking restrictions change?
No.
Okay.
It's really
this issue before us this evening is one of massage. The condition I offered has to do with the massage. Other uses that are allowed within the C1 zone are allowed in the C1 zone.
And as you stated, if we okay a massage license at this location and you decide to move on, that location is still licensed to bring in the happy ending massage parlor.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not our intent or our wishes, and we can't permit it.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah, and so we offered an out, and it wasn't acceptable, so I don't know where we go from here. But I do believe that Vice Chairman Truesdale has a thought on the matter regarding the facials. Did you? Not any longer. Okay. No. Do you know?
I appreciate, I'm getting confused because I think we're talking ourselves out of a viable solution for you. But this always concerns me because we wind up muddying the water, and then we approve what is a land use issue, and it becomes something other than that. So I'm going to just take this and make a motion for denial, follow staff's original recommendation for denial, and that way we don't, I'd hate to have something approved here that confuses the land use, and we wind up with 3 massage parlors there doing God knows what. But I think what you're doing may be interesting, but I can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, a motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
And that is final action in the absence of an appeal within 10 days.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, item 37 is a special use permit 34333. The applicant is Colleen's Classic Consignment. The owner is Robert H. and Sariva Fisher Trust for a 21,025 square foot secondhand dealer use furniture at 1540 South Rainbow Boulevard. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, previously this site was a home furnishing and accessory retail store. The applicant is now proposing to locate a home furniture and accessory consignment store at the subject site. The staff finds the intensity of land use at the subject site will remain very similar, and as such, it can be conducted in a compatible and harmonious manner, and staff is recommending approval of the request. Please note we have received additional comments after posting.
Thank you. I will declare the public hearing open and ask anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter to please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Sign in.
My name is Joshua Cohen. I'm with Jack Holler Commercial Real Estate. I am the buyer's commercial agent. Address is 3910 South Pecos Road.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm Colleen Aiken, and I actually own Colleen's Classic Consignment. I'm already in the city. I'm on Cheyenne and Rainbow. Have been for the last 10 years. And I would like to be able to move over and own my own building, and that's why I'm asking for a special permit.
Thank you. Are you in agreement with the conditions as presented by staff in the item?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter? Please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say I agree with the staff's recommendation. But I also wanted to say that your consignment store, I'm the king of consignment stores. And I think you've got my 401k, is what I'm saying. I've shopped in your store before, and it's exceptional, and I think the concept is terrific. And in your previous locations, I thought you really ran a good business. So I would defer to my
Thank you. I appreciate
colleague
that.
here.
I think so.
I think that might be a conflict.
Is that?
Or either a commercial.
Do you have a frequent flyer pass or anything like that?
I wish I could say that I visited your store to see that it was being ran properly, but I visit your store because I love to shop in it, because it's ran so beautifully. So I will be making the motion tonight for approval with all staff's recommendations of SUP 34333, and I wish you a lot of luck there, honey.
And the distinction between Commissioner Quinn and me is that she gets to buy the stuff new. When she returns it to you, I'm the guy that buys it. So.
At any rate, the motion has been made. Please cast your votes.
Thank you. I appreciate all the business you give me.
Wait till the vote is actually done.
Yeah, this way. Please post.
And that goes forward to City Council on July 15th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we now move to item number 40. 38. What happened to 38?
38?
Yes, Trinity Peak. Item number 38 is special use permit 34339. The applicant owner is Trinity Peak 1 LLC et al. For a proposed mixed-use development with a waiver to allow a non-residential use to front along the interior drive instead of the primary public right-of-way at the northeast corner of Trinity Peak Drive and Buffalo Drive. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, previously this site was approved with a special use permit for a mixed-use project with the identical waiver. That was not exercised and didn't expire on December 21st, 2007. The site plan review that was associated with that item remains active and is not expired at this time. The request is consistent with the approved site plan, and staff is recommending approval. Please note we have received additional protests after posting.
Thank you. Now declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wish to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. And
Douglas L. Crook and Associates, 5275 South Durango Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89113. Here on behalf of the applicant, Trinity Peak, and we concur with staff's conditions and recommendations and are here to answer any questions you might have.
thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on the matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the Planning Commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no comments, this was approved previously, and I don't believe anything's changed that would make it inappropriate at this point, and so I'll make a motion for approval, subject to all staff's conditions.
Thank you. Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. 38 carries.
Thank you.
Goes forward to council on July 15th.
We now move to item number 40, DIR 34510.
Staff would like to strike. Staff would like to strike item 40, please.
Staff would like to strike it, so I guess we can we live with that? Oh, okay.
Chairman, I'll move to strike item 40.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. If not, Margot's going to wing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was winging it.
okay. Please post.
That's all I got.
One's gone. Motion carries. We now move to the citizens' participation portion of the agenda. It's item 41. Public comments during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Planning Commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of time of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time on any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. So the amount of discussion. So,
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. I have a concern going back to number 6. And what happened was that it was a review on a billboard, and the applicant was suggested that it was a code enforcement issue that a person came up to object to that, and the person was told that was a code enforcement issue, and it seemed to be that it was saying that it was not a concern as to the required review. But in keeping these billboards nice, that is one of the main concerns in reviewing these billboard things, is to keeping it nice. So I understand that it's a code concern, but it's also up to the applicant of this billboard to keep the thing nice at all times. And so I believe, I thought that the commission should have addressed that as more than a code enforcement issue, also a code enforcement issue, but also that the billboard applicant wasn't keeping the property nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak during the public participation portion? Seeing none, I'll declare this public input session closed, and the meeting is now concluded. Thank you very much.